Howdy folks, Eric here, back with another standard video. Today, back on Brightglass Control, aka Camera Control if you wanted to call it that. This really is a Peter Parker's camera deck, aka Phenomena Recorder. 1 mana, enters with 3 film counters on it, pay 2, tap it, remove a film counter, copy target activated or triggered ability. The list has not changed that much with Lorwyn coming to standard. I've done a little shifting around here and there, but mostly it's the same since the last video. I think this is just my favorite serious deck list right now. I find it has a lot of answers to the current meta for main deck. Day of Judgment for the go wide lists. Seamrip is just really good against lessons in general. And we also are on 4 Aang's Iceberg, which also just another main deck way to answer the important permanence that lessons has. Also 4 Insidious Fungus. We just deal with their plan so effectively, along with a little bit of main deck graveyard hate. Testing out 1 figure of Fable today from Lorwyn. A decent Gear Hulk target, I think. I guess the idea here is that it's a 1/1 that scales in the late game, and this is a deck that wants to, or a 1-drop that scales in the late game, and this is a deck that wants to get to the late game. This is by no means like an aggro list. It's not even really a mid-range list. Hence, Gear Hulk Control. We don't have raw card advantage that a typical control list might, but outside of Brightglass Gear Hulk, but we get a lot of advantages through our copied triggers from Phenomena Recorder, etc., etc. Also testing a Johnny Outland Chaperone. I don't think this card is super good at face value, but I don't know. I want to give it a chance. 3 mana, 3 loyalty, +1 to make a 1/1. -2 to deal 4 damage to target tapped creature, and then you could eventually -8 look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your life total. You may put any number of non-land permanents with mana value 3 or less from among them on the battlefield, then shuffle. We do have a lot of non-land permanents with mana value 3 or less, so could come up. Mostly I see this as a make a 1/1 every turn, and you gotta kind of deal with it eventually, like tiny Elspeth in a way. And speaking of, we are on 1 Elspeth in the main here as an alternate sort of way to win the game. Cut down on some of the fluff 1-drops that were just Gear Hulk targets, like took out the Duskrose Reliquary and the Novice Inspector, which play okay occasionally, but can be a little clunky, as well as the Nurturing Pixie. So still on 2 Earthbender Ascension, 27 lands, the full playset of Bossing Say, 1 Cavernous Souls, 4 Demolition Field, 4 Fabled Passage, just down to 2 Valgavoth Lair, because we can find them off of the Brightglass Gear Hulks. Most of the time, the way I've been playing this deck is just go turn 1 camera, turn 2 pass. I mean, if I have to seam rip something, I will, and then turn 3, I'm ramping with the Fabled Passage, copy it with the camera, and then play out the game plan from there, either wipe the board or proceed to generate a lot of value off that camera. Sideboard, trying out a couple Doorkeeper Thralls. The only thing that this really hits on our end is our Gear Hulks, but we can just not play our Gear Hulks into this, and I think it's pretty good, particularly into the Sultai Evoke Elemental graveyard, Superior Spider-Man list. You know what I'm talking about. They're casting Superior Spider-Man and getting the Deceit triggers off of it, or the Wistfulness, is that the name of the other Evoke Elemental? A fairly new list, but I expect to see it quite a lot on the ladder. 4 Voice of Victory, couple more Elspeths in the side for grindy matchups. Couple Soul Guide Lanterns, Authority of the Console, couple Get Lost, couple Split Ups, more board wipes. Pretty straightforward. We are mostly a mono white list, except for the Gear Hulks. So our mana is really good. We don't have to play a whole lot of non-basics outside of our Fabled Passages. And I think this list is a lot of fun. I think it's very, very strong at closing out the game with this Valgavoth's Lair plus Bossing Say combination, giving you a nice scaling hexproof attacker that's very hard to deal with. So hopefully I can show that off a little bit, jump into some ranked games here. Probably only going to do 3 this time because it's a grindy deck, but we'll see how things go. All right, match 1 here on the play. It's a decent hand. We have a Fabled Passage, which is pretty good. We don't really have any action. The Phoenix Down is awkward, but we're hitting our land drops, and in combination with that, we have this Earthbender Ascension. I don't think that you could necessarily reasonably keep this on the play, or sorry, on the draw, but could be okay here. Spyglass Siren, just going to lead on a tapped Temple Garden. We don't need to rush out this Phoenix down. Let's play this Fungus. Go for another Temple Garden. Pretty happy to have this Cavern Souls in hand. You just name Construct. It's just a one of. If it comes up, it comes up. Usually it's not going to be detrimental to your mana at all. Momentum Breaker. Swing it in. Not a huge problem for us. Well, there's our Valgavoth's Lair. So we could postpone this Earthbender Ascension to be able to Earthbend the Valgavoth's Lair, but I'm going to take this window to just go for it, I think. Play this Forest. Go for the Earthbender Ascension here. Start getting our mana online. Grab a Plains. I mean, if they're playing Momentum Breaker too, it's not really unlikely that they're also on Nowhere to Run. I could expect that this is more of a enchantment sort of pick up your stuff oriented list. And, you know, clearly they have the sacrifice anyway, so Earthbending the Valgavoth's Lair, maybe not the best plan in this matchup, but we have a lot of card advantage in the form of our Gearhulks. Scouring Storm Soul, pretty good draw. Gonna be hard for them to deal with this. Let's just play out our stuff here. This way, if they have any hand rip or anything, you know, they're not gonna be able to take anything really. They could just go like Enduring Curiosity and swing in here, but I'm gonna be hitting them back for quite a lot. So they play a Momentum Breaker, but we can bring back the Storm Soul with this Fabled Passage in hand. 4 Demolition Fields, 4 Fabled Passage to be able to consistently get this guy back. Kind of thinking about going up to 2. He's actually performed very well for me in this list. Map on the Siren. Cosmograin Zenith on top. Okay, wouldn't mind drawing a board wipe. Basilisk Collar. Kind of good with this Storm Soul, actually. Go ahead and fetch here. I guess I don't have to fetch quite yet. I'm going to have to fetch to be able to get my guy back. But I could have delayed it a little bit. Doesn't super matter. Let's just go ahead and play out what we got. Basilisk Collar plays pretty okay in this list. It's nice to be able to equip it to our Earthbent Valgavoth's Lair for a consistent way to, like, turn the corner and start making up our life total. There's a Zenith. Big board. Would not mind a board wipe. But we'll be able to gain quite a bit of life here on the crackback. Swing for 2. Go ahead and bring back our Storm Soul. Getting big with it. We also get to trigger this Earthbender Ascension here with that little play. Storm Soul going up to 8. Another Earthbender Ascension is kind of crazy here, actually. I think they're going to have a hard time dealing with this. Let's go for it. I could go for it on the Fabled Passage for extra land drops, but I think I'm going to go for it on the Valgavoth's Lair for just another hexproof potential attacker. I guess I'm kind of like, in a way, I'm showing them that I'm capable of doing this, that they might not have initially considered. Play the Cavern of Souls on Construct. Just go swing in for big. And maybe I should have buffed up the Valgavoth's Lair to play around. Nowhere to Run, though. I could have made it a 4/4. And then if they do have a way to deal with the Storm Soul, we can bring it back at instant speed with the Phoenix down. Big Trample, Death Touch, Lifelinker. Split up. Yeah, it's not a big deal. You might not realize that the Phoenix down is an instant speed effect. I could return it right now. I'm just going to wait. If I returned it in response, I'd get these... With the Earthbend trigger on the stack, I'd get these Ascension triggers for a bigger Storm Soul, but I don't really need that. Not with the Death Touch Trample situation and then this Fabled Passage, you know? Go for the Phoenix down here. See if they have like a Tidebinder for this. Yeah, you're not getting rid of my friend here. There's a Demolition Field, more land drops, double triggers on the Ascension. See if they have any way to deal with this. A lot of the times the Earthbender Ascension is kind of the MVP. I might go up to 4, to be honest with you. I just don't own them on Arena. I own them in paper. But on Arena here, still pretty happy at 2. I think you could play anywhere between 2 and 4. Plays really nicely with the Peter Parker's cameras. Swing in with a big 12-12. Easy dub. Hard to deal with that. Very recursive. Up against this list, we can cut down on some of the board wipes. I think a couple of them are still pretty decent. Get Lost is kind of interesting. Maybe just bring in a couple Voice of Victories. They might go down on a bit of their removal. I mean, I guess they don't really know what they're doing. All they really saw was the Scouring Storm Soul and Earthbender Ascension. They might assume we're doing like... Mightform Harmonizer stuff and bring in a bunch of instant speed removal, which is really not good against us. It's really not good. We don't have actually a whole lot of targets in the deck, and all of the targets we do have are kind of resilient value creatures. I think this is okay. Maybe you could bring in another Elspeth, but it's a little slow. Maybe you could bring in Authority of the Consuls and split up. Yeah, let's go up another Day of Judgment. Go down the Phoenix down? Maybe they bring in like Rest in Peace? Try it like that. Yeah, I don't really know. On the draw. Gonna keep this. I mean, sometimes our hands just look like this, but we need to hit our land drops. Oh, that's some sick Hollowed Fountain art. There's a Gear Hulk. Tapped Temple Garden. I probably wouldn't keep this if I didn't have the Day of Judgment. Like if this was, I don't know, just an Iceberg and... no, actually, I don't know. There are a lot of things that would make me keep this 5-lander, I guess. Hitting the land drops here is pretty important. Double Gear Hulk. Just play another tapped Temple Garden. Pass it back to you. Curious to know if they have any interaction for this Doge. Swinging in. Kaito, perhaps? We have a pretty decent answer to the Kaito here. Hits us. Draws a card here. Okay, good to know. Maybe we'll bring in the Get Losts. Another Day of Judgment. Just go for the Iceberg here. Pass it back to you. Next turn, probably going for a Gear Hulk. Kind of just depends on what they do, I suppose. If they, like, go all in. Kaito's back. Could be a bit of a problem. Good to know that they're on the Get Losts. Spyglass Siren. Map on the Pixie. Reveals a Momentum Breaker. Okay, so they have a good answer to our Gear Hulk. I might just wipe the board. Slow them down a little bit. Temple Garden. So I could, like, wipe the board. They hit me for 4. Yeah, this Kaito's a problem. If I just play the Gear Hulk, I know they have this Momentum Breaker. I think I kind of have to stagger a little bit so I can play a Gear Hulk, follow it up with another creature to sacrifice. Just wipe the board here. I'm not, like, super confident that I'm going to be able to win this one. Kaito, huh? Momentum Breaker. Well, that's not really a problem for me. Just discard a... I guess we'll discard a Temple Garden. It might have to be a Demolition Field to be able to, like, Gear Hulk plus colored spell, I suppose. Draws with Kaito. Keep something on top. Land. Picks up their Momentum Breaker. Okay. Well, Fabled Passage. Not a horrible draw. See if they have like a No More Lies here. Gear Hulk resolves. Kind of feel like they probably have like a Nowhere to Run then. Or perhaps a Flood Pits Drowner. Let's go for... In order to win this one, I think we eventually need a Basilisk Collar to recoup some life. And then maybe a Seam Rip for a possible... No, I need to play another creature here. Just to give myself a chance to block, perhaps. Jump with a Fungus. That's the line. I don't think it'll be good enough, but... See what they have. Sun Pearl Kieran. Okay. So they can make me sacrifice a creature and then tap whatever I don't sacrifice and then kill me. Okay, move it into the next one. Let's make sure we board properly this time. Maybe some Voice of Victories to pressure the Kaitos. Get Lost. Let's go down the Elspeth. They have too many like flying creatures, I think, for Elspeth to be particularly good, and it's a little expensive. In that case, we might be able to go down a land as well. Maybe cut like a Demolition Field here. Basilisk Collar's iffy. Maybe Ghost Vacuum's not particularly necessary. And then let's go on the split up plan instead of Day of Judgment here, now that we're on Voice of Victory. I think that's okay. You could also maybe argue Authority of the Consuls is kind of good. It keeps them from being able to protect Kaito with blockers in certain situations, and like sometimes the life gain adds up when what they're trying to do is just like play to the board and chip damage. It can buy us enough time. Yeah, let's go down another land. We're on 27. I think we can afford to cut a couple Demolition Fields. Okay. I like this hand. We've got the Phenomena Recorder plus Fabled Passage situation. We don't have any real action, but we're able to ramp pretty quickly. And we have a Bossing Say, which helps us kind of fight against Kaito. Lead on a Fungus here. I think I'll plan to just sack it to ramp next turn. And then the following turn I can go Recorder plus Fabled Passage to ramp even further. Seam Rip, pretty good draw. Swing in for 1. Pass it to ya. I also like that we have this Cavern of Souls for future Gear Hulks. Go for the ramp plan. Another Fabled Passage. Okay. Put a Fabled Passage in. Doesn't super matter. Valgavoth Lair. That would have been nice earlier. Yeah, just go Cavern of Souls on Construct here. Play a Phenomena Recorder. Pass it to ya. I like the Valgavoth Lair, though, with this Bossing Say in hand. Cosmic Rain Zenith. Could be a bit of a problem. Start ramping. Grab a Plains. Yeah, we should probably grab a Forest as well. Voice of Victory. Okay. I can play a Fabled Passage and ramp a little harder. It might make more sense to get the Valgavoth Slayer on the field. I could just go like Valgavoth Lair and start putting counters on it. Oh no, because I don't have the bossing say. Yeah, I have a lot of lands I need to deploy here. I guess let's go for the Valgavoth Lair first and play the Voice of Victory. Setting up for a bossing say on the Valgavoth Slayer next turn. 2, 3, 4. And I have the mana to copy it. Zenith. Double Zenith Pixie. Okay. Gonna be troublesome. Kinda wish I left in my Day of Judgments in this exact position. Aang's Iceberg. It's not a bad draw. Depends on whether they have an answer to the Aang's Iceberg here. Because I can go Aang's Iceberg, eat both of the Zeniths, but if they have like a Get Lost in hand, that's a little rough. Play a Bossing Say. Better to do it now, I suppose. Make him have it. No attacks. Might end up sacrificing this Aang's Iceberg for a Scry. If they target it with a Get Lost here. Yeah. Not ideal for us. Let's go ahead and Scry. See if we can hit a board wipe. I think I had a hard time sideboarding in this match. I think I maybe should have left in the Day of Judgments. It's like, I know. It's the idea of the way the deck is constructed, though, where it's like, yeah, sometimes I have the Cosmic Grand Zenith, and sometimes I'm doing the Kaito thing, so it's really a toss-up whether or not your Day of Judgments are going to be any good, I guess. Yeah. If we spike a split up on top here, we could be doing okay. Taking a lot of damage. Yeah. Gonna scoop this one up. A rough start, but that's okay. That's all right. Moving to match number 2. Showed off a lot of power in game 1. Let's move into match 2 here. All right, match 2 on the play. Pretty decent hand. Could use a third land. Let's go ahead and lead on the fungus here. Hope we draw into some action. Risen Reef, Valgavoth's Lair. I guess I'll just plan to activate the Fungus's third ability here. Put the Valgavoth's Lair into play. Would be nice to draw a Fabled Passage at this point. Open up our mana quite a lot. Back to me. Go for this. Probably makes sense. Okay, it makes sense to put this on green in case we draw a Gearhulk. Aang's Iceberg. Not a bad draw. Let's just lead on a Recorder here. Pass it back to him. Bitter Bloom Bearer. I could just kill this now. Yeah, that probably makes more sense. Denies the opportunity to Kaito it. I could hit it with Seamrip, but Seamrip's going to have targets in the future anyway. Earthbender Ascension. Yeah, that's pretty good. I can't double it up, but this opens up mana for future doubles with the, like, Aang's Iceberg, etc., etc. Go ahead and Earthbend this Valgavoth's Lair. Grab another forest here. I think that's okay. Could swing in. I'd rather not give up the lair quite yet. Let's just play another Recorder. Pass it to him. Land go. Here's another land for us. So now I can start swinging in. I could double this trigger to speed up the Ascension. I don't think that's really worth it. Let's just swing in for 2. think it's okay, even if they have like a Flood Pit's Drowner to block with. It feels like they would have flashed it in last turn. They might be stun locked by the Hexproof. Not a whole lot of Hexproof in Standard. Pass it back to you. Island. Now they have blockers. Could really use a Demolition Field. Another lair. I think maybe it makes sense to use this opportunity to copy this Earthbender Ascension trigger. Start presenting a bigger attacker. Faster. Tapping out a little here, but I'm imagining they just want to fire up this Soulstone Sanctuary. I might not attack. I'm not sure that I want to trade the lair for a Restless Reef. I think that's too easy of an out for them, perhaps. Yeah, I'll just pass it back to him. Flood Pit's Drowner. Fair enough. Kind of surprised they didn't fire up the Sanctuary there. Flitterwing Nuisance. 1/1, enters with a 1/1 counter. Remove a counter from this creature whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw a card. They're swinging in. What could you possibly have that I'm not foreseeing here? Can you give something? Okay, you just ran it into the meat grinder. Here's a Brightglass Gearhulk. I mean, that's a pretty insane draw for us. Hopefully they don't have a Tishana's Tidebinder. Looks like this is resolving. Go to copy the trigger here. There's a Tidebinder, so you can counter one of these. I probably should have held up white mana. Oh, you countered. I'm sorry. Counter up to one target activated. I'm sorry. Why did it counter both of them? When this enters, counter up to one target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as this creature remains on the battlefield. But I copied... Oh, when I went to... Oh, I see. I goofed. Okay, so rather than proactively copying the trigger, I should have let them resolve their Tidebinder, put their Tidebinder trigger on the stack, targeting my Gearhulk trigger, and then copied my Gearhulk trigger instead. They were able to counter my original trigger, thus countering my copy target. I see. My bad. Learning for the future. I probably should swing there. Just a little stun locked by my oopsie. That's okay. We're still in this. Shoot the Sheriff on the Gearhulk. They still have to find an answer to the Valgavas lair. They level up the Nuisance to swing in, draw a card. Not the end of the world. Deep Cavern Bat. Fine. I have pretty good answers to the bat here. Cavern of Souls. Not a bad draw. Let's go for the Seam Rip here. Target the bat. Copy this. Double Seam Rip. Play Cavern of Souls here on Construct. I'm going to start swinging in. I think I'm winning this race eventually. I could hold up Aang's Iceberg with the Phenomenon Recorder. I'm just going to hold up Aang's Iceberg. If they want to do anything about this, I can still cast it. Otherwise, I get to like double copy this Aang's Iceberg eventually. They're going to be hitting me, but there's a Scouring Storm Soul in my graveyard. Do I have a land as well? I do. It kind of changes things for them. Day of Judgment. They could have another Tishaana's Tidebinder in hand, so that would be 3+3+4. They could counter the... I think I can maybe just pass here. No. I swing in. They don't have lethal outside of casting the Tidebinder like right now. And then I can put the Scouring Storm Soul trigger on the stack, make them Tidebinder it, and then copy it with the Phenomena Recorder to force it through, right? That makes sense to me. We'll learn from our mistakes from last time. Restless Reef, fired up. Coming at me. If they ninjutsu and a Kaito, that's only 7 damage still. Okay, Fabled Passage, pretty good hit for us. You know, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure that that's how the Phenomena Recorder situation will work, but I'm excited to give it a try, see if it does. Feels like they have another Tidebinder in hand. No? Okay, huge. Start putting counters on the Valgavoth layer. Back to me. Curious to know what they have. They have nothing. Great. Okay, game 2. Bringing the Voice of Victories. Go down on the board wipes here. I think Get Lost is pretty good. Phoenix Down's pretty good. Basilisk Collar's iffy. Let's go down on the Basilisk Collar in this matchup. It's not really what it's about. And then Ghost Vacuum is only okay. Try it like that. Game 2. On the draw. Pretty decent hand. A lot of removal. Could use a third land, of course. Flitterwing Nuisance. There's a third land. Let's just lead on the Fungus here. Gives us some options next turn. We can either activate this or Simic plus Recorder. Bitter Bloom Bearer. Looks like it's Simic plus Recorder here. If they have a Kaito, I do have an answer to it with this Aang's Iceberg. Swinging for 1. Are they going to kill my Fungus? No. Not Fun Gus. He's the life of the party. That's okay. Level up their Flitterwing Nuisance. Not Flittering Nuisance. Flitterwing Nuisance. Voice of Victory. Swinging in. I guess we could also like Phenomena Recorder Mobilize in a pinch. There's a lot of flexibility with this card. Sometimes it doesn't do anything, but most of the time, because we're like very heavily built around it, it's got some kind of play, especially in a long game. Really starts to add up. Requiting Hex. Or is it Requiting Hex? Requiting Hex? Just going to pass it to him. Maybe I'm supposed to Aang's Iceberg the Nuisance right now. I think I'd rather like just block sack on the Fungus here. I could double the trigger to draw 2 and then set up for a doubled up Aang's Iceberg next turn. We'll see if they flash in an Enduring Curiosity here. There's the Enduring Curiosity. So, you know, for tempo purposes, I'm just going to exile this Curiosity. Maybe it makes sense to still go through the block sack situation, draw a couple cards, and then plan to double up the Aang's Iceberg next turn, but I think I'm going to exile this eventually anyway. I kind of feel like I'd rather just do it now. Demolition Field is a pretty good draw. I'm going to go for the double Aang's Iceberg here to play around Tishaana's Tidebinder. Slash whatever other counter magic they might be on. So go to fire up the Soulstone Sanctuary. Not a huge problem for us. Storm Soul. Go for the Demolition Field here. Copy this. I should probably hit the Watery Grave. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Double Demolition Field, little ramp for us. Puts a target in the graveyard for this Storm Soul in the future. Grab a Forest. Grab a Plains. Curious to know what they have in hand. Flitterwing Nuisance. Ooh, Earthbender Ascension. Okay. Well, I'd kind of like to double that up. Start swinging in. That seems pretty good. Present a bigger Storm Soul in the future. Tidebinder. Okay. Good to know what they have. So I'm going to let that happen so I can present a blocker here for the Tidebinder. So they'll draw one less card off of this Nuisance. And then I can double up the Iceberg trigger. Wait, they fired off the ability. Why? That's weird. Why would you do that? I'm stun locked. I think I just like start hitting them. I'm gonna Iceberg both of their blockers and then just start hitting them. I mean, I guess they can't block with Cecil anyway, so let's do the math real quick. It's gonna flip after hitting them once, and then they'll be able to block it. I think it makes sense to do this. Gives them one turn to draw anything, because Storm Soul is so big and handsome. Whee! Bop ya. Pass it back. What you got? Storm Soul. I should put a second one in the deck, I think. Maybe in place of the Ajani. I still want to see if Ajani does anything. We haven't drawn it yet. Draw their island. Yeah, I don't know why they went for that activation on my turn. Hit him. Good game. Pretty good showing this time. 2-0 against Dimmer Midrange. Head into a final match here. Quick pack intermission. Lorwyn Eclipsed. Let's see what we got. Ooh, Gangly Stompling. Mirror Mind Crown. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, the first time you would create one or more tokens each turn, you may instead create that many tokens that are copies of equipped creature. Gonna have to do something with that. That's pretty spicy. Yeah, I don't know that it'll be good. It seems pretty clunky, but it's certainly enticing. Final match on the draw. Pretty decent hand. We can go turn 1 Fungus into a turn 3 Gearhulk if we would like. Keep it for that reason. Forest Fungus, pass. Otter. Quantum Riddler. I'm always curious to know what people think when they run into me on the ladder in the stuff I play, because I'm not like the other girls, basically. I am never running something particularly meta. Sometimes I play like mono white mid-range, which has had some results. But I'm always keeping my opponents on their toes. That's kind of the plan. Pop a Fungus. Go for a Gearhulk here. Makes sense to me, I think. Grab a Plains. They could have some kind of counter magic here, but who knows? Jam. They could also have just like Seer, you know? Grab a Phenomena Recorder. And I think I kind of like maybe a Seam Rip here. That makes sense to me. They do nothing. Color me shocked. I mean, we're still not particularly sure which flavor of Izzet this is. Ill-timed explosion. Wow. That is a desperation move if I've ever seen one. Discards a Quantum Riddler. Huge for me. I think I'm just gonna play this Elspeth on an open board. I don't know. That feels right. Yeah, just go for Elspeth. Feels right to me. And then we can go Recorder into Earthbender Ascension next turn. And just bop this Riddler. Easy solution, I think. Play a Fabled Passage. Fetch. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have a hard time dealing with a hexproof 4/4 outside of Ill-timed Explosion. Maybe in order to set up this play being good, I should put my Ghost Vacuum online and play a Gear Hulk. That way I can keep them off of this Storm Chaser's talent idea on their Ill-timed Explosion. Could grab another land here. That's probably pretty good with my hand being so stacked as it is. Grab another Seam Rip, I think. Tends to be pretty good in these matchups. Swinging. Doing big green-white mid-range stuff. Gotta love it. Riddler. Okay. Yeah, I don't have great answers to that outside of rolling down Elspeth again, which I just might do. I don't know. They torched the Elspeth. Okay. Not a huge deal. Not a huge deal. Go ahead. I guess we just start exiling Riddlers when we have nothing else going on. Seems pretty good. Yeah, let's go for the double up Earthbender Ascension idea here. Targeting the lair and then copying it. Making sure we leave the lair untapped. I don't think I'm going to swing with it, but I guess I could have doubled up a Gear Hulk trigger here. I think setting up a little more mana for next turn makes sense to me, though. Valgavoth's Lair on green. Okay, so we have the Ascension online next turn. I guess we just pass. It's not like they can really attack us. They have to keep this on the defensive. Ral Quackling Wit. Cool art. A lot of good targets for our Ghost Vacuum right now. Get out. Storm Chaser's Talent. Well, I can swing in with a really huge trampling Valgavoth's Lair next turn to kill off the Ral, or try to. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee kill off the Ral if I swing with the Gear Hulk as well. Back to me. Exile more Riddlers. Big card advantage off of this Ghost Vacuum in the future. Demolition Field. What makes the most sense here? What makes the most sense? I don't have any good targets to deal with the Ral through the Gear Hulk. I could just go, like, grab a Basilisk Collar. Okay, they scoop it off. They're like, yeah. They're pretty far behind here. I was going to say, grab a Basilisk Collar, give the Gear Hulk Death Touch and First Strike, lifelink, you know, be able to guarantee swing through whatever, basically. But we get there. Just way too far ahead on card advantage. Let's bring in a second Elspeth. It seems like they're pretty much in on the Riddlers as a way to close out these games. Decent answer. Couple get losts for Ral. Do we need the collars in this matchup? Probably not. We might want the Authority of the Consuls, though. They could be on Frostcliff Siege. Not necessarily unlikely. Day of Judgment. Let's go 2 Day of Judgment, 2 Split Up. now that we're on the authority of the consoles. And Voice of Victory seems pretty good too. Pretty good chance that they cut down on some of the removal. Or maybe not. Maybe they say, hey, I couldn't deal with that Gear Hulk and I need to bring in my Seers or whatever. So that leaves us in a weird spot. Ajani's probably pretty bad. Yeah, maybe just one Elspeth. A little expensive. Figure of Fable, it's kind of risky. I think it just dies most of the time. Phoenix down could be good. It could be good. We'll try it out. Ghost Vacuum seems pretty good. Maybe this is too heavy on the Voice of Victories. Go down a couple Demolition Fields in this matchup. Maybe not that important. Try it like that. Could be the final game here if we win. Elspeth, Day of Judgment, it's fine. It's not particularly exciting. Turn 4 Gear Hulk is exciting. Vel'Gavoth Slayer on white. We have a lot of tapped lands coming in here. Cryogen Relic, interesting. Buckling down for a slow game here. Quantum Riddler. Did they just miss a land drop? That's huge for us. There's their land. It better be good for you. Quantum Riddler. Okay. They might go to like flicker this? No? No flicker. They could have a Null in hand. I'm just gonna go for the Voice of Victory now. Play around a Null here. A Null's like pretty decent against us. I mean, or almost entirely artifacts and enchantments. Roaring Furnace. Well, I still get to play around a Null. Go for the Elspeth next turn. That's pretty good. Grab a Forest. I don't think that'll be a problem. One of Elspeth. Does it resolve? It might not. Disdainful Stroke. Fair enough. Ral. Crackling Wit. On the field. Draw 3, discard 2. Sculpt their hand a little better here. Find some lands. I hate this Disdainful Stroke art, by the way. I think it's ugly as sin. Sorry, Campbell White. It's not your fault. It's whoever directed you to make this. No offense. If you're watching, I'm sorry. Do I play around a Null for the rest of my life? I think I just kind of swing at Ral. I'm going to take this chance to swing at Ral with my Hexproof Vel'Gavoth Slayer. I think that's pretty good. Pass it back to you. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Riddler on the field. Shocks themselves. Either they have it or they're just trying to make me think they have it. But I kind of feel like they have it. They've been holding up that extra bit of mana every turn. You know, maybe I should have held on this fetch. That's okay. I probably should have, but that's okay. Another Day of Judgment. That's not a bad draw. Let's just play the Scouring Stormsoul here. Gonna be a little tough for them to deal with it. And then I can just Iceberg the Riddler at some point if I want to. Kind of force the annul. Bounces my Storm Soul. Okay. It's not bad. Going to swing in. Go for the Iceberg. You got the annul? You do. But now if they like play another land and play another Riddler, my Day of Judgment looks really good. So I'm pretty happy with how all of this worked out. Tap the lair. Day of Judgment. Whee! Bring this back in on white, I suppose. Play a Bossing Say. Play a Storm Soul. Oh, yeah. We're gaming. 2 Riddlers down. Pretty huge. Also a Ral. Seer. Torch? Oh, Torch. No. You're not supposed to die to torch the tower. Alright, we'll take it. 2 for 1. Cryogen Relic. Land. Storm Chaser's Talent. Do they have another Annul? The $1 million question. YOLO. Nope. Okay. Gonna grab. Do we want a Phoenix down? Phoenix down's kind of good. I think we want a Ghost Vacuum to beat the Storm Chaser's Talent. And I kind of think maybe we want a Phenomena Recorder. Is this a 2-drop on the battlefield? I think it is, right? Alright, I gotta check the rules real quick. Okay, I think it is. Is it even good? I don't know. I kind of think it is good to deal with it. I think it is a 2-drop. They could have Spell Pierce here. Seam Rip the room. Go for a Ghost Vacuum, I guess. They could have like Spell Pierce still. Yeah, maybe I did this in the wrong order. Okay, fair enough. So let's just Seam Rip the Storm Chaser's Talent then. I think I would have rather seen my Ghost Vacuum resolve in retrospect. But that's okay. Didn't really expect Spell Pierce. I have quite a lot of mana generation. Seems like a bit of an odd choice against me. Quantum Riddler. Part 3. Split up. Could just get lost the Riddler. Start swinging in. I don't have to do anything as drastic as a board wipe here. Get lost the Riddler. Earthbend the Valgavoth lair. Start swinging in. Beat you up a little. Puny little otter man. Dies to a stiff breeze. Look at this big, strong, solid, sturdy hulk of a lad on my squad. Roaring Furnace. Drawing into a Roaring Furnace. Ooh, we're getting steamy. Okay. Drawing some cards. Land. Is land good? Land is not very good here. I guess what land lets me do... Land lets me double activate on the lair, which is not great this turn, but helps me play around the explosion. Ill-timed explosion in the future. Activates the Roaring Furnace, kills the Gear Hulk. And now I have quite a lot of agency as far as the lair goes with the split-ups, or the split-up in my hand. Like, were they to commit to the board a bit more? Another land. Now extra land is pretty good, I think. Big hexproof Valgavoth lair. It's all the rage. We have become the Abyss. It seems like a good strategy, y'all. I think this one's gonna take off, maybe. I don't know. It seems really good. Tishana's Tidebinder. Yeah, I mean, you could play Ultima, but is Ultima that good against the rest of our deck? Kinda. It's decent. I mean, it hits, like, our recorders, I guess. We have ways around it. I've also considered, like, just playing Ice Tail Explorer as a way to just bring back our Fabled Passages and stuff, continuing to hit our land drops. We're not that graveyard oriented otherwise. I guess I probably... Do I get to start buffing up a second land? I kind of think I do. Make them start using their removal on the plains here. Bounce my plains. Fine. They're drawing a lot of cards. Storm Chaser's Talent. I mean, if they commit like pretty heavily to the board right here, could be maybe not the best outcome for them. Only one Riddler left in the deck. 18 cards left in their library. My computer smells like it's on fire a little bit. I went out and I ordered a duster off of Amazon to, like, you know, blow air and dust it out to try to boost its performance a little bit. And I think, you know, I read that you're supposed to like hold on to the fans when you do this because otherwise they spin too fast and the friction is it's simply too much for them to handle. And I did hold on to it partially, but I maybe let them spin a little bit. Just like, hey, have a little fun little spin, you know? And maybe that little bit of spinning was enough for it to, like, just get a little burnt in there. Anywho, Aang's Iceberg. I think I'm just going to go for a split up here. Tap this, split up untapped creatures, and then I can start swinging in with more Earthbent lands on top of this. Not really in a rush to fire off this Aang's Iceberg. Kishana's Tidebinder. Countering my Bossing Say. Yeah, I don't think I really care about that. They might just deck themselves. Is that crazy? Do I Aang's Iceberg this binder? I don't think I care about the binder that much. They might just deck themselves. They're drawing 3 cards a turn. There's another Ral. So we have the Aang's Iceberg for Ral. They're making Otters. Storm Chaser's Talent. Well, we have another board wipe. Yeah, I'm not really sure who's going to win this one. We don't have a good source of trample right now. It would take a little while for our Earthbender Ascension to get there. Storm Chaser's Talent, leveled up, targeting. Disdainful Stroke. For a board wipe? Okay. Swings in. Go for the Aang's Iceberg now. See if they have anything to say about it. Annul. Fair enough. They can't Disdainful Stroke a split up if I draw a split up here. Seam Rip. Can I Seam Rip and still double Bossing Say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Target. No. It's probably still worth it, though. It's what I got. Maybe I don't even swing with the Valgavoth Lair. I mean, what do they even do? Just block. Okay, they're gonna storm off like crazy next turn. But it's not like, are they allowed to Ral ult? I don't know. Yeah, maybe they kill me next turn. They have a lot of resources. Yeah, we have a third game on our hands, probably. Let's see. Storm Chaser's Talent. 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 I mean, if they have like a Frostcliff Siege on top of all of this, I'm definitely dead. Picking up 1 or 2 furnaces, a furnace and a talent. Furnace. Yeah, they're gonna have a big enough otter that after they kill this plains, I'm donezo. All right, good game. Good game. Game 3. On the play this time. Maybe a Johnny's good on the play. If I just play him on turn 3 and they don't have an immediate answer for him. Eh. Better on the play than the draw, at least. Maybe go up the Voice of Victories. On the play especially. Go down the Authorities. They don't seem to be doing Frostcliff Siege things. Go down a Phoenix down. The Day of Judgment's played pretty well. Skip the Elspeth, maybe. A little fragile. We're like kind of ride or die on these Earthbender Ascensions. And go down a Seam Rip against their build, maybe. Having access to the Trample, I think, is pretty much the most important thing. So, in the future, full 4 playset, probably. Probably just like cutting a Johnny. Maybe cut the Figure of Fable. I can't really decide on whether I like it or not. I think I'm leaning toward not liking it for the most part in this list. In other lists, I think it could perform like in a more aggressive deck, perhaps. Torch on my Fungus. Why would you do such a thing? Valgavoth's on white. Happy to have this Cavernous Souls in hand. Obviously, no action otherwise, really, outside of this Day of Judgment. Okay. Fungus is not bad. Let's play plains here. Play a Fungus. We can start firing up this Bossing Say next turn. We can keep them from Boomerang Basicsing on this Storm Chaser's Talent. There's a Riddler. See if they're stuck on lands again this time. There's a land. Shocks themselves. Talent. Kind of feel like they just breathed a sigh of relief. Like, oh, thank God. I hit a Steam Vents. Swinging in. Just going to go for the block sack here. Draw a card. A Johnny. Okay. Could be a thing. Could be interesting. Not this turn, because they've got the Otters. Well, is it worth going for a Day of Judgment here? Probably, right? Probably. Just clean up the Otters. Get a Fungus on the field. Set up for this Ajani next turn. They could play like a Ral at this window, which is pretty good, but I will have, there's a Phenomena Recorder. Okay, well, I could start pressuring the Ral with a Valgavoth Lair. I kind of like that move. Play Cavernous Souls on Construct. Give him something to think about. 1, 2, 3. Activate. Yeah, I like this, I think. Play Recorder. And now I'm set up to double Bossing Say next turn, I think. I guess I need one more land to do it and attack with the lair. Roaring Furnace on the Fungus. Okay. So they could give up their Ral here if they wanted to. -3. Riddler. Draw 2. Kind of huge for them. Bump up the rail. Swing it in. Demolition Field. Demolition Field is interesting. Demolition Field. They probably have 2 islands in their deck. But it would ramp me. It makes sense to just put another counter on the Bossing Say. Maybe even just 2 this turn. Give them something to really think about for the future. And then I can stop worrying about this, because it'll be big enough to survive ill-timed explosions, which they might not even be on anymore, to be honest with you. Really wouldn't mind drawing an Earthbender Ascension. I mean, if you were Earthbender Ascension right now, Johnny, we'd be loving it, you know? But we're learning. Levels up the Steaming Sauna. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Phenomena Recorder. Play a Johnny. Make 2 1/1s. That's probably not bad. Swing it at rail. Get chumped. Play a Johnny. Play a Recorder. Make a couple 1/1s here. It probably makes sense to use the new Recorder, distribute the counters so that one is not particularly clearly a better target for like an Ouroboroid than the other. Just a small thing to kind of consider there. Voice of Victory. Interesting. Yeah, I guess we go for that. See what you got. Seer can't target Planeswalkers. They could torch a Johnny, put it to 1. They could double torch it and kill it. Wan Shi Tong. Interesting. It probably just makes sense to like make 1/1s this turn rather than maybe go for double Demolition Field. Yeah, okay. Well, that's going to kill my Johnny here pretty quick. Still going to swing in at rail. If they want to trade for my lair, they can. They decide they don't want to. Fair enough. 4 damage to target tapped creature, huh? It would be nice if this just targeted a creature. I mean, that would be like pretty big game, actually. But white doesn't really typically do that. Make some 1/1s. Might be an issue for them eventually. They haven't really seen this aspect of the deck yet, so they might not be prepared with any sort of board wipes anymore. And Wan Shi Tong does die to a Seam Rip, so if my voice survives and I draw like a Gear Hulk, I'm pretty much in this game. The voice does not survive, unsurprisingly. Cryogen Relic. I think I level up the Valgavoth's lair and swing at Ral with everything next turn, depending on what I draw. They're way ahead on card advantage now. Planeswalkers. There seems to be a trend, somewhat of a problem for us to deal with. Ghost Vacuum, not going to do a whole lot for us. I definitely have to level this up at least once. I think I'd just go for the doubler. don't let them have the option of killing off this Valgavoth Slayer. Because if I have anything good going for me right now, it's this. And drawing like a Basilisk Collar. Is the Basilisk Collar even in my deck still? I'm not sure that it is. Swinging. I think I'm just dead next turn, though, to be honest. Like, they don't even really have to block this. They could probably just let this happen. Or they could block exactly like this and plan to just maybe kill me on the backswing with these otters. Yeah, especially if they get out right here. Yeah. Good game. A lot of interesting matches at the very least. 1 and 2 overall. Died to Planeswalkers for the most part. When we got really, really creamed, it was from the Planeswalkers. But as far as exploring the new cards for this list, Figure of Fable, I'm not really sold that this is the kind of threat that we want access to. It's fine, I guess, if you play it on turn 1 and it survives and you can continue to scale it that way. And in certain matchups, it can be a pretty good finisher if your opponent doesn't have the right kind of removal for it. But with like against Izzet decks where they have a lot of ways to deal with this at instant speed before it outgrows their like the damage from their removal, it's just kind of a do nothing card. It's kind of interesting maybe a sideboard tech for like grind your hard removal based matchups where maybe you eventually actually get to ultimate this and then they just no longer have a way to deal with it. But I'm going to assume it's more so reserved for lower to the ground aggro decks, Kithkin Tribal, where you eventually just could draw this and in a way see it as sort of like a scaling threat where you can either play this on turn 1 or maybe it's it's a 1-drop that's relevant late game. Full stop is basically the idea. But because we're so creature light, it's just kind of a magnet for all of the removal in our deck. So I think I would cut one of those. I think I would maybe go up another Scouring Storm Soul. That seemed to perform very, very well this time around. I'm not necessarily sold on the Elspeth or the Ajani for that matter. I mean, definitely not the Ajani. I think Ajani, it's maybe if it started with slightly higher loyalty, I could see it. Or maybe if the removal piece was a little more flexible. But for 3 mana, I don't know. You're just making a 1/1 every turn. It's not awful, but that is maybe my like 2014 brain speaking, saying it's not awful. It's just like it just doesn't do enough, competing against Badgermole Cub or Ouroboroid or Lessons. I think it looks pretty laughable in those matchups, and so it's like, well, if those are 70% of your matchups, why would you even consider putting this in your deck? I don't know. Once again, maybe a Kithkin Tribal deck wants this just because it's it makes a Kithkin every turn. So that's definitely something I will try in the future. See if the dedicated Kithkin deck actually wants a Johnny / Figure of Fable, so on and so forth. So I think I would cut an Ajani, cut an Elspeth. I would go up to the full 4 Earthbender Ascension. I think every game that we had it, we looked pretty good. Just having access to the trample and another way to Earthbend our Valgavoth Slayers was pretty sweet. I think our Brightglass board looked okay in this run. The Phoenix down, yeah, I'm a little iffy. Sometimes it's good, but being so creature light outside of this, maybe if we were on some like Icetail Explorers, it could be an interesting tech option. I think our board wipes performed pretty well. Never got to see the Doorkeeper Thrall matchup. Yeah, overall, I'm not too upset. I think we went to game 3 in both of my losses, so we had a chance. 1 and 2 overall. Check it out. I think it's a really fun deck. I think we do some clearly really powerful stuff. If our removal is insane, and our proactive game plan is pretty good, but definitely like when we're up against the tempo lists, which we just played dimmer tempo into Izzet tempo, I guess that Izzet list wasn't necessarily so much a tempo list, but we're just maybe a little too slow is what it is at the end of the day. And not having trample to like get over those otters in the final hour is really what hurt us. Like we had the big hexproof 10/10, but we didn't have our Earthbender Ascension synergy piece to close it out. And I think that was maybe true in the Dimir matchup. I don't remember so much as there, but Or did I win against Dimir? I don't remember. I don't remember. I just remember that I went 1 and 2. I don't remember what the third matchup was. Any ideas? I played against Dimir. I played against Izzet. And then I lost to the Esper deck. Okay, so I did beat Dimir. Once again, just kind of losing to a big go wide. Like tons of little things on the board. Yeah, I don't know. I think I remember sideboarding was a bit of an issue in that matchup. I was a little iffy on my whether or not to bring in board wipes or not. Okay, that's okay. Pretty fun run. Pretty good matches. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, I'll be posting mostly standard content every day, mostly Magic the Gathering content. I haven't branched away from that quite yet. Kind of considering doing it a little bit in the future. Maybe some single player games or something like that. So let me know what you'd like to see, I suppose. If you have any interest in me exploring a card or deck idea, leave a comment. I may own the cards already. I might not. If you wanted to help out with that, there'll be some info in the comments where you can maybe make a donation if you wanted to. Not a huge deal. I'll just be posting anyway, so no sweat. If you liked this content, why don't you like and subscribe, perhaps? And I'll see you next time. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.